Good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, no matter where you are. Buy Black for Life. Welcome. Come on in. As you come in, as normal, hashtag where you're watching from. We are in all 50 states, 99 countries. My name is Jerome Hurt, founder and CEO of Buy Black for Life. We have another one of our Education Saturday conversation series. And if you have been with us at all, you know that this month we are intentional in talking about mental health awareness. Mental health is so vital to us, vital to our community. So, welcome by Black for Life. And I have an amazing guest. I hope everyone is ready for this one. And I'm just gonna jump right in to her bio and read it. It's she's amazing, and the bio doesn't tell all of the story. So this afternoon, we have Yvonne Secreto. She is a founding member of Health Awareness Education, a group of professionals who are creating a holistic healing program. Yvonne is a registered nurse, healthcare consultant, author, entrepreneur, certified Reiki Master. Did I say Reiki right? Did I say that right?
It's Reiki, like a sunrise.
Reiki. Okay, Reiki Master. She specializes in Reiki practitioner development, past life regression, and energy release healing. Yvonne has more than 30 years of experience and is versed in many other modalities and exercises, including inner child work, age regression, chakra balancing, relationship repair, and more. She also teaches Reiki certification courses every few months, and you can schedule a one on one healing session with her. Buy Black for Life, please welcome Yvonne Secreto to our conversation this afternoon. Welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you, Jerome, and thank you, by Black for Life, and all the listeners. I get filled up every time I get to talk about what I do.
Awesome. Awesome.
It
So
just energizes me.
I love it. So I'm going to start with an icebreaker, Yvonne.
Mhm.
When you are feeling that struggle with your mental well-being, and this is an icebreaker, if you are watching, please put it in the chat. When you are feeling that struggle, right, with your mental well-being, what is it that Yvonne does in order to get back to where she needs to be?
Well, I am a firm believer that holistic, alternative, integrative medicine is the answer to all. So that's my go to first, even before we consider anything else. And I like to focus on the five senses. So I would do something in the area of aromatherapy. I might light a diffuser, put some lavender on,
Mhm.
some nice music, and then do like pressure point acupressure on myself.
Okay.
Maybe drink a nice cup of tea. That's the taste part.
Yes. Yes.
So just engage all five of my senses
Wow.
so that I am really bringing myself back to balance on every level.
Wow. That you just gave me a tool that I most certainly will use. So thank you for that. Because thinking of the senses, that gets us in touch and in tune with our
This,
inner.
yeah.
Right. So thank you for that, Yvonne. Me, what I do is listen to gospel music. I'll put on some gospel music, and I
So
will.
that's your auditory sense. So could you
Yes.
imagine if you engage the others while you were doing that?
And you've taught me something that I'm now going to do, honestly, and I thank you for that. And believe me, I'll be texting you. You're right, like so. Thank you for that. And let's just jump right in because I'm fascinated when we say Reiki. What is it? Can you explain for those who are watching what that is? What does being a Reiki master? What does that entail?
Well, I am a nurse for 35 years. And about 35 years ago, a friend approached me, someone at an event, and they said to me, "How would you like to learn how to work with love energy?" So who's going to say no to that, you
Right.
know? So
Right.
I said, of course. So her name is Melanie Chong, and she invited me to a workshop to learn how to work with love energy. Now, at the time, I was a pediatric nurse,
Hmm.
and I worked the midnight shift because I didn't want my daughter to be latchkey, and so I wanted to be home with her during the day.
Right.
And I learned this wonderful technique where you intend to be a conduit for love energy.
Mm.
Your mental intention makes you an antenna for the love energy, and it just flows right through you with that intention, and you bring it through with your hands, or you can project it also.
Right.
So there are things that a Reiki teacher will do to make you the best antenna.
Right.
One of those things is called an attunement, and they literally plant the symbols that represent that love energy into your aura. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
So she did that for me. And at night, I started practicing on the babies because, I mean, I know technically you're not, this was 30 years ago, but you're not supposed to be bringing other things into your work. But there, I don't think there love is contraindicated anywhere.
Hmm. Right.
Okay, we
Right.
bring love in anyway as nurses. I mean,
Everywhere.
during the pandemic, I loved up a lot of people that were dying alone during
Yes.
COVID. So we'll talk
Right.
about that afterwards. But we always, nurses, bring love in. This was just more intentional and
Hmm.
more direct and more deliberate. So in the dark of the pediatric ward at night, I walked
Hmm.
around to all the cribs, and I would just put my hand over the crib and intend the love energy to the babies. Like,
Wow.
you will not believe, the parents would come to me the next morning and they'd say, "Something was different last night."
Wow.
I remember one mother saying, "I hope you're coming back tonight because I haven't slept all week." This was the first night that me or my son got any sleep.
Wow.
And because I was getting so much feedback from all the parents, I said to myself, there's got to be something to this. But you
Hmm.
know, parents, when we are nurturing a child, I think Vicks did a commercial many years ago where they showed love coming through your hand and putting the Vicks on the baby or something.
Correct.
You know,
Yes.
so this is something that's natural, innate. It happens anyway. Reiki just makes it more conscious and deliberate.
Wow. I
And
love
so
it.
the parents loved it. We actually, inspired by that, wrote a grant, a proposal grant to OMRDD, the agency at the time. Now it's OPWDD. They fund programs for people with disabilities,
Yes.
and they gave us a 7-year contract to teach the parents how to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I can say honestly that just being in your presence brings a certain aura of peace and love, right?
Mm.
I've been in your home and it's been love in your home. I've been in your presence, right?
Mm.
Even when you had lost your mom a couple of years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a certain level of peace
Yes.
in who you are and who you bring to your into your environment and into your community, right? Talk about how you foster that.
Well, I was born in Panama, and my great grandmother, Daisy, who is now in heaven, we never went to the hospital as kids.
Mm.
She would go in the backyard, cut some bush, boil it, and take some herbs off the tree, whatever.
You speaking
And
to a lot of islanders right now, a lot of people who are from the islands. You already know what you're doing right now.
so I was born into that knowing. Now, at 4 years of age, I came to the United States, and took advantage of all the wonderful opportunities here and became a registered nurse. So I believe in science, but I've never lost my knowing that the natural, God given blessings of the earth can magnify, enhance, and improve science. So that is what my company does in a nutshell. It blends spirituality and science to have every person discover their inner healer.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
I think
And
we all are healers.
and we definitely are. So I have this thing that I say, right? Because it is so prominent out there to hear people say hurt people, right? But I'm very intentional about saying healed people heal people. I
Love it.
believe, right, in what you're doing is healing. I also am witness because people keep telling me that because I'm healed, I'm able to heal people. How do
Yes.
you feel about that comment of healing,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. I think we all have an inner healer within us. I remember one lady I met a long time ago, and she would introduce herself as her illness. And she was
Wow.
very connected to it. It was an OBGYN type of thing. And she started all conversations with that dilemma that she was in. And I coached her. I train a lot of healers. I train them in Reiki and other practices. And I coached her and trained her to identify with the healer instead of the illness.
Mm,
And now, and it was very difficult for her to put it out there that I am a healer. And but
yes.
now, a year later, she's a pro.
I
She's a
love it.
pro. Her name is Stephanie, and she does aromatherapy healing. So that's a story that touches my heart because she's a real example of someone who would not identify with their healer, and
Right.
after getting the right coaching and support, now that's her first identity.
I love that. Yvonne, you touched on a little bit about the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Um, and while we are in some ways starting to come out of it, I suffered, right? It was a point where I thought it was over. I literally
Wow.
sat on the edge of the bed. Um, my wife would not leave the bedroom because she thought this was the last time she was going to see her husband alive. And um, I came to peace. All right. I can't explain it. There was a peace about
Wow.
death
See?
that came over me. It really did because I knew where I was going. Right. I knew that I was going to spend the eternity with God, honestly. But you talk about the pandemic. How has your healing helped those who have had to either deal with themselves being subjected to the virus or so many people who have had to deal with losing a loved one during this pandemic?
One of the hats that I wear is that I now do consulting and nursing with hospice. And so I literally sat at the bedside of people who were dying and FaceTime them with their
Mhm.
loved ones.
Right.
Um, I was able to I remember one gentleman, I brushed his hair and I fixed him nicely for the FaceTime. And his wife was in tears and she said to me, he's so particular about his looks and thank you for caring. I mean, he was
Yes.
unconscious.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Wow.
Thank you for caring about how he looked on camera, you know? And
Wow.
and they loved him up on the camera. But it was heartbreaking to see that families couldn't access their loved ones.
Yeah, that's tough.
And it's still happening now.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really have made a commitment to do is to work with families to learn how to take care of their loved ones at home so that they have more choices. There's programs now that will actually pay them. as the home health aide.
I
And
have seen that.
yeah, and that's born now out of the need for family. Families know best what their loved ones need,
Exactly.
and their presence may be the healing factor that we're talking about. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? So
yes.
so I've made a new passion and commitment within myself to prepare these families through the CDPAP and other programs to learn how to take care of their loved ones so they don't have to put them away. And
Hmm.
yesterday, I had a man come to me and say, they won't let me visit my mother this weekend. He was mad.
Yeah.
And it was a CDC rule, Department of Health rule, I think, or something, that they had to limit the nursing home visits. It's just very painful right now. So
Right.
families are going to get the support they need to make other choices.
And we definitely need that um as we come out of this. And I'm intentional about talking, and I think it's so important, Yvonne, that we normalize talking about mental health.
Yes.
I mean, I struggled with it, and I'm very clear in talking about it. When my mom died in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
when my wife would leave the house, I was like, and you know her, I was like, okay, how can I leave this life but not mess up this house in doing so? Right? And I praise God,
Right.
I could laugh at it now, but honestly, that was my struggle.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when I am talking about that, then I'm saying to people, if I made that permanent decision about a temporary thing, all that I
Mm.
would have lost, all the blessings that I would have
Yes.
lost.
Well,
So
imagine.
I just, what are your thoughts about normalizing conversations about mental health, Yvonne?
Well, I think that what's happening in our world today is letting us know that we can't ignore mental health. I mean, if we want to live in a world where we are afraid to go to the grocery store because we might get killed,
Mm,
then we continue to ignore mental health.
yes.
So I was very pleased when I saw that they're sending social workers out with the police department. My husband is a retired police chief, and they're trained to maintain law and order. But we, the health professionals, are trained to work side by side with them to manage people who have mental health issues. So that partnership should have been in place a long time ago. And
Agree.
I'm glad that now in New York City, they're making it so that social workers are going out with the police officers. I used to be a supervisor at a mental health hospital in Westchester. And I remember saying to my husband, we admitted someone who's going to come to you shortly. I mean, this
Wow.
person was on track to get in trouble and arrested
Right.
because so families know this.
Hmm.
Families can see this. We need to implore them to get help before it's too late.
Right.
Before the person reaches that brink where they're now don't have a reason to live, and they're
Mm.
going out and doing all these things that are harmful to themselves and others. We know probably every single one of us has someone in our family who needs to be
Everyone.
kept an eye on.
Yeah, and when I think about as being a young person, the way that that was handled was leave that uncle, for example, in the corner or in his room,
Yes.
door closed. He would never, for example, for the holidays, be around the table with the rest of the family because of that fear of what he was going to say or do. We have to, especially in our communities, we have to be intentional about helping that person heal. I do know my uncles, they didn't have some of the
Yeah.
outlets that we have now. One of the things I talk about a lot is we as Black men, we don't talk about the things that are bringing us down
Yeah.
mentally because
Yeah.
we have this, I need to be strong. We need to get rid of that mindset. Redefinition. change the narrative around manhood. So
Exactly.
I'm working. Trust me, I'm working on doing that. And one of the
I had
ways that I'm
five
working
brothers.
on it.
I had five brothers.
So you know what I'm talking about,
I'm with
right?
you.
It's
Yeah.
it's that, masculinity, that hyper masculinity, and it shows up in so many different ways. So your
Also,
work,
not wanting to ask for help is a key.
mm, talk about that, right? Because we have to ask for help. We
Yeah.
have to.
I think men in general, no matter what race, don't like to go to the doctor. They don't like to ask directions. I'm not going to stereotype. And not asking for help. I'm in pain. I'm sad. Women will call each other and will say like, "I just need to vent today."
Mm,
It's rare that a man says that,
right.
but we encourage and we invite them to. But one of the things about health awareness education, which is the company that I've started, we are on the cutting edge of all the new technology that's out there. And
Hmm.
there is a device, it's called the AO scan, and you speak into the device, it
Right.
records your voice, and it spits out a 4-page report that tells you everything about imbalances within you emotionally based on your voice patterns. And,
Wow.
and so it talks about being introverted, maybe being too hard on yourself, things like that. And then this is a service that we offer through the company, and you have the link so you can,
Yes, yes, and
they'll
I
get
will
that.
I will definitely share the links.
But
I
the
put one already in the chat. I'm sorry, Yvonne. Go ahead.
Okay. The thing that I'm most excited about is the tones. With each one of the readings, you get a musical tone. It's
Hmm.
only about 2.5 minutes, and you play it on your headphone at night under your pillow, whenever, but you want to do it 3 times a day, each tone.
Right.
And let me tell you something. I have had 10 times the energy I normally had since I've been listening to my voice.
Really?
I am not kidding. And I had it for a while before I really started using it, but I listen to the tones when I'm exercising, and I find that I would be winded by a certain time. Now I still have energy to go. I can do this. I can, and so I'm seeing a big difference. So there's simple things like that are, and it's done all remotely.
Right. I love it. I love it.
So there's
Now,
simple things like that can help others with mental health issues.
I love it. Yvonne, you're also a teacher, right?
Yes.
So what you do is you teach people to do what it is that you do.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute about teaching what it is that you do.
That's part of the life mastery program. And I teach people how to do the age regression, inner child work. Many of us have issues, blocks, and it's something that happened in our childhood that's there. And there's a simple 3-step technique where you go right to that, whatever that thing is, and you correct it. There's also a past life regression that is much more extensive that goes to the seed, not the
Mhm.
root, but the seed of
Wow.
the issue. And,
Okay.
and, and sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
It goes to the seed of the issue, and I thought I had muted that. And
That's
it,
okay.
sorry, and it really tells you why.
Mm.
So I teach students how to learn how to do these techniques with their clients. And again, it's a 3-step exercise. There's a little mini video about the past life regression stories. They're amazing.
Awesome.
With Dr. Kokai on the link. And I just want to talk about teaching about relationships.
Yes, please do.
I wrote a book 2 years ago, and the name of the book is Elevate Your Relationships. And it is a new and exciting way to use sexual energy. And I've been very blessed to have a teaching relationship for 45 years with my husband. And I explain to people how they tend to be in the classroom during their relationship experiences, but we get you out of the classroom and put you in the kingdom. And we teach you how to do kingdom building in
Right.
that course.
I
And
love
so
that.
that's another form of teaching. And I know your kingdom has been built because of your kingdom builder,
Yes.
your
Praise
king
God.
builder, your
Listen,
king builder partner.
I have a queen,
Yes.
right? And it's a blessing to be able to share an every day with someone like my queen. So thank you for that. And I have a little gift for you. We have a guest who decided to drop in. His name is James Griffin. James, join us in this conversation. James, tell us, welcome to the conversation.
Good
My
morning.
name is Jerome, founder and CEO of Buy Black for Life. James, tell us who you are.
How you doing, Jerome? How you doing,
Blessed.
Yvonne?
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be on this show right now, this podcast. My name is James Griffin. And I'm a student of Yvonne and a student of life. So what I'm about, I'm 28. I live in Kansas City right now, and I've been on my self-healing, self-mastery, um, basically trying to figure out more about who I am, trying to heal myself and from that standpoint, heal others. So that's my main goal and my main intention is to basically empower people, empower communities, go from victimhood to victorhood, right?
Yes.
Um,
Come on, brother.
exactly.
Preach.
So standing in your power and wielding that power to create a life that's balanced within yourself and without. So, and that's been a very, challenging road because before you can either, I guess, go about changing your life, you have to change yourself, right? And
Yes.
that requires you to face yourself.
Yeah.
And that can
And
be
that's
hard.
hard. That
Exactly,
mirror is hard.
exactly. It's hard. So, but it's necessary. It is
Yes.
necessary if you want to live the life that you want to live. If you want to live, what they say, your best life, you have
James,
to
if you
do.
don't mind me asking,
Go ahead.
because you might be in just your presence healing someone right now. What
Mhm.
is it that you said you had to heal? What is it that James had to heal himself for? So now that healer can become healers for others. What did you have to heal from?
Just trauma. And that's the main thing. Just mental trauma, emotional trauma, whether it's from my childhood or just how I perceive the world and how that affects my own reality, my own thoughts and my emotions. So it's kind of just coming to terms of um, who I am as a person
Mm,
and accepting myself fully and loving myself unconditionally, all aspects of self, right? So I can be the best version of myself
I
and
love
show
that.
up.
Yvonne,
I
I love this, right? I, I've talked to so many young people, especially in the last year, where they were talking about all that has been going on, not only with the pandemic, but with the police violence and
mm,
with George Floyd, right? And that trauma that James is talking about, now our young people are normalizing that trauma and not
yes,
even recognizing and
yes.
realizing it. How are you helping heal our young people or people in general from normalizing trauma?
Well, I am blessed, honored, and excited to be working with James. I call him King James, and he has had lifetimes as a king. And I see him working with other youth, young men, to help them connect with their internal king.
Okay. I love
And
that.
he has done that for himself, and I know that he will do it for others. Just as my commitment is to have others connect to their internal healer, James, as the healer, will have others connect to their internal king and queen. And so I'm excited to lift him up and support him in doing that. And I think once we know internally that we are kings and queens, then it doesn't matter what people are doing in society. It doesn't matter if they're trying to make it harder to vote or whatever. You overcome those things.
Great.
You rise above it and you keep moving. So that's his mission, and it's my passion to support him.
Awesome. James, and please excuse me, because one of the things I forgot to do, and I did it with Yvonne when we started, was our icebreaker, right? So, James, for you, when you are feeling that you're slipping back mentally, that you're struggling with your mental well-being, right?
Mhm.
What is it that James does to bring himself back to kingdom, to being a king? What is it you do?
Okay. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities because in the world we live in, there's is it can be pretty chaotic. So I know recently there was a time where I was feeling there was anger inside of me, and I didn't even know where that was coming from
Mhm.
because my usual disposition is that of being, just joyful and happy. So having that anger be apparent was very surprising. But at the same time, I I participate in body mind activities like yoga, tai chi, things like that. So I was at work, so there wasn't much I can do at work except do some activities in terms of what I learned in tai chi. And from there, I was able to move that energy from my mental center and kind of just displace it in other areas until I got home. And when I got home, I was able to enter a meditation where I was able to forgive and understand where
Mm,
that was coming from and trying to reveal, like Yvonne said, the seed
mm,
of why that anger was there. And then from that understanding, I can let go through forgiveness and integrate those emotions and those thoughts into my being, becoming more whole, more complete. So that's kind of what I do. That's kind of my process.
man, Yvonne, he hit on something that for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not just put that aside. Let's talk about. So, forgiveness is not necessarily for the other person. It's for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's for
No,
my inner peace. It's uh God forgives me for the stupidity I do every single day, right?
yeah.
Talk about forgiveness as a tool that you use in mental health, because I don't think many people can understand that forgiveness is a part of that.
Forgiveness is a necessary process when I'm training students about how to do coaching, age regression, past life regression, any of those processes. If you cannot forgive the issue, you need another session, basically.
Mm,
It's like you're not
wow.
complete.
Right.
So it is a critical part of what we do, and it is included in every single session. And lately, I found I've been working with people with some close people close to me, who are looking at transgender reassignment. And there's a lot of self criticism, self hate, even disconnecting from self, that puts this population at risk. And one of the things we have to teach them to do, which I'm committed to, is forgiving yourself. Even being aware that you are feeling that way about yourself, and
Right.
then going into a state of forgiveness
Right.
and moving forward.
Yeah. Even as parents, right?
Hmm.
I I became a parent when I was young. I belonged to a men's group where so many of the men talk about the mistakes that they
Yeah,
made growing up, and they beat themselves up over it.
yeah,
But we have to talk about, you know, when you know better, you do better, and getting past the hurting of yourself behind the mistakes that you have made. We have to forgive, and most important, forgiving ourselves. And James, it seems as if that was vital to your healing, that you forgave James.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that. I love that. Yvonne, I mean, you amazing student. What more do you want to say about James and the work that he's doing? Kansas City, listen, my wife and I are on a quest to see all 50 states. We have yet to get to your state. When we do, I'm Yvonne, I'm
Well,
going to Yvonne will let you know. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
absolutely talk about you said you work with young people. Talk about working with young people, and them having to forgive, not only forgive themselves, but I remember talking to a young person who had to forgive someone who murdered a relative of theirs.
mm.
So talk about
I
working
want
with
to
the young
interject
people.
something
Sure.
and turn over to Jen. My grandson, who's 10 years old,
He's
uh,
10 now?
well, yeah, there's a 7-year-old, so
Somebody's getting old
but
and it's not me. So
anyway, he came home and he was telling his mother uh, that it's not good to be dark, and so she said, where did you hear that thing? And he said, well, the teacher showed us something in school, and so the school system needs to be forgiven, teachers need to be forgiven, they
wow.
are a big part, of parents, a
Wow.
lot of anyone who has imparted information and been unaware of how it has affected that person. So I
Needs
just
to be
wanted to
forgiven.
mention that. But please, James, share
Wow.
with us.
Wow. Thank you for that, Yvonne.
Okay, so I would say basically the goal is to be whole. Through forgiveness, you are accepting yourself unconditionally and you are loving yourself unconditionally. And there's a step, there's a process that I go by where you have to first acknowledge, that thought form or that emotion. And that's the first step, becoming the captain, becoming the driver of your own vehicle, right? And then from there, you can analyze exactly where that thought form originated from, where that emotion originated from, whether it's through emotional, mental trauma from your past or whatever it may be. You have to analyze and sit down and contemplate, or you can feel that emotion as well. Instead of, because a lot of people nowadays, I feel like we live in a go, go, go world where it's easy to just repress or ignore those thoughts and those feelings. And especially during this pandemic, it's kind of like a universal timeout, kind of like when your parents say,
Right.
go in the
Right.
room and think about what you did.
Right.
Now you got to think about exactly what you did, and all these emotions and all these thought forms are now coming back up for you to deal with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so now you have to deal with it, and that can cause a lot of chaos in people's lives. If they don't have the right tools to deal with those thought forms, that can cause anxiety, depression, all these negative, thought forms and emotions that we have been dealing with. So that's a crucial aspect. So from there, I like to tell people to be grateful that these negative thought forms at the same time have revealed themselves to you, because now, since you're aware and you are, you're becoming the captain of your ship, you're able to, I guess, direct that energy now and kind of
Right.
change the
Exactly.
course and
Right.
transmute that energy towards something better. So through that gratitude, you're now able to integrate, that aspect of yourself into your being, and become more whole, as a solution. And that can be processed through forgiveness, that can be processed through acceptance, that can be processed through journaling, processed through dancing, all these, yoga, tai chi, eating right, treating yourself right, compassion for self, because it starts with self before you can give compassion to other people, right?
Right.
So, and I like to break it down as being responsible, because if you break down responsibility is the ability to respond with what? Compassion and wisdom. That starts with who you are first. Are you compassionate to yourself? Are you wise in how you treat yourself? Do you honor yourself? And then from there, you can learn more about yourself, and then that can translate to, again, teaching other people. Each one teach one, but
Yes.
first you deal with yourself. So that's how I go about, telling other people.
I know you're proud of your student, Yvonne. I know. I see you beaming. I
He's
love it.
God's student, but
And James, what you're saying is so true. It this year I made it my mantra, and it was because of my relationship. I met a young man, and when I say young, I think he's 12, 13 right now. And I met him as being part as when I created this group, he considered committing suicide,
wow.
and he turned that around, and now he has positive affirmations on shirts in his own business.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the shirts that I bought from him was to be kind to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as you said, it comes in so many different forms. It comes into eating right, exercising, doing what you enjoy. Right.
Exactly.
How many of us will give up what we enjoy to please someone else?
Yes.
Do what you enjoy. Please yourself. If you love being in your headspace, put your headphones on and blasting your music and jumping around, do it. But I think what you're saying, and it encompasses the be kind to yourself mantra that I'm all about. So thank you. Yvonne, has there been a difference in your teaching and or your work pre-pandemic and while we were in the pandemic, or is it all basically the same in what it is that you're seeing?
Well, this is one of the positives that has come from the pandemic, is that I used to teach Reiki very one-on-one, very hands-on in the classroom, and now we teach on Zoom. And so we're reaching, there are 14 mastership students right now that are working with me. I do about 12 to 14 a year. And these are students who've taken the level 1 and the level 2 Reiki certification training. So they become certified in Reiki. The next one is next week.
Okay.
And then they go into a 1-year mastery training where they learn how to perfect their practice. And I have a student who lives in England.
Oh, wow. I
And
love
that's the
that.
first for me,
Wow.
post-pandemic.
That's beautiful, Yvonne. I
It
love
would
it.
not have happened without the change.
Right. So basically which so many people who are part of this group actually have done. And James, I don't know if you know of my group. We created this platform so that we can give the BIPOC business owners the ability to sell their products and services to the BIPOC community. And we are 172,000 strong. We are in all 50 states and 99 countries throughout the world.
Mm.
And I give that to one person and one being only, to God. He gave me this platform, and when he did, my promise back to God was to be responsible with it. And that's what I'm going to do, and be able to bring our community Black excellence like the two of you, right? Because there is a narrative that we can turn on our television and see that doesn't look like what either of you are doing, right? It doesn't look like the positive work that either of you are doing. So if we can create a platform where our people could see, there are positive images of people who are healing. There are positive images of Black excellence, and both of you are that. So I want to thank you for that. But James, I want to ask you a challenging question.
Okay.
Right? Because in the work that you do, I'm sure as you were going through, may it be some resistance or some challenges that you, as you were going through, were doing. what was the no, I'm not going to do that moment? Did you have that no, I'm not doing that moment as you were going through?
Um, there was, I would say, I guess, getting to this point, I had to go, I guess, overcome that. Nah, I'm not going to do that moment because it's kind of different than what I guess my other people my age are doing. So it's kind of like I have to separate myself and then believe in what my like believe in my goals, believe in my intentions, believe in myself, and
Right.
kind of go on the path that's less traveled, less walked. And that could be tough, to
But
stay
that's your
away from
path,
the
not no
crowd.
one else's.
Exactly. So even just signing up for a Reiki course, and because before I was sitting with myself and I'm like, is this the right thing for me at this time? Is this the right path? Because I was thinking before physical therapy, because I always want to help people because I started this path through health, through the body, through nutrition. So I was trying to figure it out, like what path is for me, and doing Reiki and all these alternate healing modalities was definitely something that was different originally, and I had to overcome those doubts and those fears and say, yes, I feel this resonates with me. I'm gonna listen to my intuition and go forward with this decision. So I would say just being here.
So is my voice coming through?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, coming through.
I don't know why I'm not fully hearing, but
We're sorry about that, Yvonne, and I will use the chat to ask Yvonne any questions that she may have, and be okay with what she has to say. Actually, she signed out, and she's going to try to sign back in. So, James, again, tell us about where you're from, what it is, where it is that anyone who might be from where you are would be able to find you. Just share that with us if you can, as we have Yvonne back and technology. Listen, it's technology. This is where we're at. So praise God that you're back. But James, just share with anyone who's listening where you are, how they could find you, and you could inbox me any or private chat me any social media links or links for
Okay.
anyone to be able to find you, please.
Yeah, so right now I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, and you can reach me through Instagram at the Love Renaissance. That's my handle right now. So I'm still in the process of developing more of a website. Also, Yvonne has a website as well that
he'll be on.
partner with. Exactly. So that's all in the works. But right now you can reach me through Instagram at the Love Renaissance.
Thank you. And do know you are a member of Buy Black for Life. So when you do launch, let me know so I could make sure we put you on our page as part of our group. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yvonne, I have to ask you because our conversations, you've shared with me some of the amazing things that you have coming up. Share with our audience what more as and you have a lot, right? Share with us what more that you have coming up that will help our community.
I just want to say that James is one of, like I said, 14 amazing current Reiki Mastership students who are doing phenomenal things. And I've trained about 500 Reiki Masters, and there are
That's
a lot of
beautiful.
them that I'm still connected with are doing amazing things. We the star of our world, and I just branded the name the Wellness Galaxy, the Wellness Galaxy, and these people will be planets orbiting the galaxy and the work that they do. And we
Hmm.
just trademarked that name. And I want to say that what the star of the Wellness Galaxy is a list of 50 holistic healing tools that will take care of most mental health issues, most feelings of being stuck, most everything. And they are common things that we've all used and know about it, but they're organized in a way so that they can be applied on a beginner's level, intermediate level, and a mastery level, which is how James is using it. You see how he was aware that he was upset and angry. He went
Yes.
home, he decompressed himself, and he used the tools. The Tai Chi, meditation, acupuncture, aromatherapy, all of that is in the list of 50. So our goal is to teach every individual how to use these tools.
And what I like about what James said, right, is like you said, Yvonne, he identified that, but he didn't allow that emotion to come out until he got to a place where he can compartmentalize that
He managed
emotion
it.
and
He managed it.
absolutely and place it in a place that he needed to place it until
And
such
released it.
time. And some of the time, right, we get that emotion and we're like, well, I'm not in a place where I could do what it is that I need to do, so let me get it off of me by maybe lashing out at someone,
Hmm.
saying or doing
That's very
something
common.
that later on you say, I regret X, Y, and
Excellent.
Z.
I want to say
So,
something. I want to say something to that. James gave us an example of the mastery level, the advanced level of using these tools. We want to introduce people to them. We want to help them get acquainted with them. And then we want them to start operating in mastery, the way James described. There will be less mental health issues. Now, we have submitted funding to teach first responders how to do this. We've also submitted funding to work with people who are transitioning through transgender issues. So it can be applied to any population. I have a student who works with mothers and babies. So all of us go through imbalance in our day to day activity.
right.
How we choose to deal with it is what separates the people who are mentally fit from the people who are mentally depleted, debilitated, and having these crises in their life. And
Wow.
choosing is the key, as James described.
Absolutely, yes. So we're getting close to the end, Yvonne, and I have to say, right, in our conversations, I didn't know this was gonna be it, right? This is amazing information. And I hope our community that I always say when I go and mentor young men, take advantage of this opportunity because 20 years down the road, you're going to wish you did. I hope our community takes advantage of this information and what it is that you're offering to our community before it's too late, before there is a mental breakdown. And I don't care who you are, me included, we all need something as we have gone through what we've gone through the last year. I have my therapist on speed dial. He will tell you. I will say, listen, and he'll say we'll meet on Tuesday. So
But
we
you know what? Grabbing a bottle of aromatherapy oil and just sniffing it will take you into another state of being. Right,
oh,
James?
Exactly. Yep.
listen, I couldn't even have paid for this. This is amazing. I love it. I love this. Thank you. If you want to talk about becoming me and the safe healing program that you're working on
Well, I just referenced them a few minutes ago.
through the galaxy. Okay.
Through the galaxy, we believe that learning about these tools can help us bring balance. Becoming me is born out of a conversation with someone who knew for 6 years that she wanted to transform her life, the gender transformation, but she didn't have the courage to say until recently, I'm ready.
Mm,
And in the conversation, we found out that she had fully disconnected from her previous self mentally, but
right.
had not connected to her new self. And a feeling came inside of me that said, this is part of the high suicide homicide rate. with these wonderful individuals.
Yes.
They've made themselves vulnerable by ungrounding and disconnecting themselves. So I devised a program where we go forward into the future, connect with the future self at its highest potential, and anchor the person to that visualization process. Use the five sense tools, aromatherapy, music therapy, and all these other therapies to safely ground that person as they elevate their consciousness and disconnect from their old self. But
Wow.
not in a feeling of negativity towards the old self. We need the old self to give birth to the new
To the new
self.
one.
So
Absolutely.
we have to keep it intact, strong, and
Yes.
powerful. We can't
Wow.
damage it. And a lot of times they're just alone and not knowing. So we have a phenomenal team of people that are working to support that process. And of course, the safe healing is targeted for first responders, but it's really for everyone. It's learning how to use those 50 integrative medicine holistic tools to make your life easier.
And Yvonne, everything that you're saying, what keeps resonating with me is in love, right? Everything that you're talking about is love. So, you know, we can say it, we could spell it, we could talk about it in any different way, but with what you're talking about is about love. And I
Yeah.
believe healing comes from love. So, James, I'm gonna start with you, right? Any information, last minute things, let's just pretend you have 172,000 people in 99 countries and all 50 states that are watching you, and you have a couple of minutes to get the last bit that empty the tank for me. Any last minute words you would like to share with our audience?
Okay. So like I said in the beginning, my intention for myself and other people that I come in contact with is for you to be the best version of yourself so you can be of greater help and assistance to your community. And from that standpoint, you have to approach it from a state of being balanced mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And through that balance, you're able to love yourself unconditionally. You're able to accept yourself unconditionally, um, and be more whole and be able to bring more to the table. Um, Now, my main thing is basically going from a victimhood mindset
Mm.
where to a victorhood mindset. So, with that being said, that requires people to be accountable for their own actions, to be accountable for their own life, all their thoughts, all their feelings. And from that standpoint, now you are the captain of your ship. You're able to direct your vessel in whatever direction that you want to move in. You're able to create your life and live the life that you want to live. Um, and that's very crucial. And it starts with just integration of your emotions, integrations of your thought forms, and like I said earlier, acknowledging, being aware of your programs, your past programs that no longer serve you, depending on how you grew up and how you were raised. And then from there, you're able to analyze exactly how these thought forms and emotions, how they, like, where they originate from. And from that aspect, you can get gratitude. Like I said earlier, get gratitude for God give you an opportunity to release those
Amen.
thought forms.
Yes.
Because in past, like I said, people want to repress those emotions, repress those thought forms, and they don't go nowhere. They're still
That's still there. Yes.
and they're still
Yes.
there, and they come out and and like sporadic bouts, and people like, and then people wonder, oh, like where
Where'd that come from?
exactly where that comes from, but that wasn't meant for you. It was just something that
Right.
was stuck inside
Right.
that
Mhm.
you didn't
Right.
know how to manage. So through that awareness, through that acknowledgement, through that analysis and that gratitude, now you can integrate through forgiveness, integrate through love and acceptance. And then from there, you're now becoming more whole, more complete. And now you're able to be more of an assistance to yourself and to your family, to your friends, and to your community. So it starts with self. That's my main message, is to start with self. Heal yourself. Don't worry about what's happening external. I understand that's part of the process, but your main goal should be to go within.
Yeah.
Whether that's through whatever body mind practice, meditation, yoga, or just listening to music and dancing. All these things brings your attention back to your body, back to your mind, in a more balanced aspect where you can now sit with yourself and kind of clean the closet, do some spring cleaning,
right,
and release and let go. So, but it takes patience. So another aspect is like you say, be kind to yourself, because it's a long journey, and it requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of compassion. And that's my main message right there.
Wow. Thank you for that. That powerful message. Yvonne, I don't know if James took some stuff you were going to say.
Well, listen, I have one sentence. I tell all of my students, be the love. When you walk in the room, like you said, Jerome, have people feel the love.
Yes.
So coming through you be the thing that you are saying you are promoting. So, and that's what the advanced stage of the program teaches you.
Yes, I love it.
That love, just be it.
Yvonne, I have in the chat everything, every link that you have for our audience to be able to get in touch with you, get some information, check on your book, find your book, get into these courses, get into these classes, have conversations with you one-on-one. I have it all in here. Buy Black for Life. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching this on the replay via our YouTube channel or our Facebook group, please take a look at the links, listen to this in depth. It is vital to our existence that we focus on our mental health. And there are so many ways with which we can go about it. And Yvonne is showing us and teaching it. And James is the example. So I thank you all. I thank you both for being with us. Love you for your presence. Love you for what it is that you're putting out into the universe, because I believe when you put love out to the universe, that it comes back 1,000, 50,000 fold. And the more that we, the more that we are love, the more love that is going to fill up this planet and fill up this universe. So thank you both with what you are doing. I love you again. And for the love of our people, Buy Black for Life. Have a wonderful Saturday, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.